everybody, welcome back to the next episode of the Pullbox Pals. It is a great day because I already got Tim laughing. I cracked my beer pre-show.
Oh no.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's okay because now people who don't like hearing the sound of a pop can open up.
A pop can.
Well,
from the Midwest?
And I don't normally say that, but just because it does pop and it's a can, and that's more of why I said it. So
is Idaho considered the Midwest? Hot take. Let's hear it.
This is a hot debate growing up, but
really?
Bioregionally, Idaho is a part of the Northwest.
Wow.
But I also think that once you kind of get past the Dakotas, you're a little beyond the Midwest.
Yeah.
And so
do you mean like coming west?
Yeah.
West. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think I'd be inclined to agree. Would you say the people there are more West Coast, Pacific Northwesters, or are they more Midwestern? Are they
Are you talking blend? We're talking about my fellow Idahoans?
The fellow Idahoans.
I think we're a little more west. I mean, I'm not in Idaho anymore, and I haven't lived in Idaho for like almost 8 years now. And
well, what do I know?
Yeah, what do you know, man? You just knew I was from there. But
I guess that's fair.
Spoiler but then, alert. I guess something like that I could say is like I'll meet a lot of people from like Northern California or Southern California and like vibe with them. There's a lot of similarities. And I'm also from like the Boise proper, like the metro area of Boise. So I would say that culture is slightly different than the rest of Idaho, and the rest of Idaho is a lot more like Eastern Washington and Eastern Oregon and Montana and Wyoming and those places. But anywho, yeah, but be who you want to be. Like you don't have to stay in Idaho forever. You can become an Oregonian if you want, or you can go live in other countries too. You do what you want.
Do so many things. We're almost close to living on other planets or in other let's say quantum realms. I have a crazy story that I wanted to tell you. Did you see my Instagram story that I put up about that trailer when it came out?
About the new
Ant-Man? Yeah, the new Ant-Man
trailer. I don't know if I saw your story about that. I've been a little.
That's okay if you didn't. It'll make this story better, and I'm just gonna assume nobody, everyone who's listening didn't see it. Anywho, so the new Ant-Man trailer came out. I guess was it like Tuesday? No, today's Wednesday. Heavens.
I think it was Monday, maybe. But
Monday,
yeah.
Earlier this week, and the night prior, I had a dream, and it was like one of those kind of dreams where you just are more of like aware of what's happening, and you're not so much perceiving it. It's just kind of those like, this is my dad's grocery store, even though like your dad doesn't own a grocery store, but you just know that your dad owns a grocery store.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. I had this dream that it was like a Star Wars and an Ant-Man crossover.
Interesting. Tell me more.
I was using Ant-Man powers to go through the Death Star. I think I was getting it ready to be blown up. Like I was setting something in place.
Yeah, and also like having Ant-Man powers and like being a Jedi would very much go with the Yoda thing of size matters not.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was really weird. So I guess for those of you who didn't see the Ant-Man trailer, it's very Star Warsian.
I'm so excited about it, and like they chose one of my like favorite songs of all time too for that trailer. Like
which one's that?
I believe it was Rocket Man from Elton John.
Yeah. I can't really remember. I guess I wouldn't be asking then if I didn't.
Yeah, but anyway, I love that song, and I think that the way that song is portrayed in that trailer just made me even more amped about it coming out. And I even turned to Kate when we were watching, and I was like, Tim's gonna be so excited.
Oh my gosh. I totally was. I thought it was I mean, we don't normally really talk DC and Marvel news, but I feel like there's been like a lot of back and forth between DC and Marvel this week. Because Monday, I'm pretty sure, is when Henry Cavill came out and just spoiled Black Adam. It was like, I wanted to give everyone the weekend before I told you that I was spoiler alert in that movie.
I thought that was kind of already known.
I guess it was too. But it was like the worst kept like secret in Hollywood because The Rock was essentially out there just being like, "Yeah, he's in this movie." Wink, wink.
Well, and
Like that's not
I had
subtle.
read an article about how like Black Adam for their whatever the universe is called for DC was going to change like the um change
Yeah,
the way that we've always seen DC is like Superman is like in like not like he can't really be stopped unless it's with like kryptonite.
sure.
Like like Black Adam's powers are going to be greater than Superman's. And then, like another thing too about The Rock is The Rock's contract says that he can't lose a fight.
That's such a. I know. I'm aware of that. So, oh no, he
Which was
can.
real, which is really weird because when he did the one of the Fast and Furious movies, like Jason Statham has the same thing in his contract, and so does Vin Diesel, and they all fought, but like it was always a stalemate fight in those movies between those three people.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That it was the stalemate is okay,
So
and
we might have a stalemate with Black Adam. Thanks, Henry. Jeez.
yeah. Well, I don't know if I want to see like Superman fights another guy like Superman. I want to see Superman fight like Brainiac or like they're teasing that in the games. I don't know why they're not like doing
Yeah.
a live thing of it. Anyways, we're probably gone on too far into this realm. We're supposed to be. This
No,
is comic books.
this is comics. We're talking comic book movies.
You
It's
look so
fine,
upset.
but
You're like, no, we're gonna stay
no,
on
we
this
can
topic
keep
forever.
chatting. Let's talk about these things forever.
I guess we can,
Anywho,
buddy.
let's get into comics. What'd you pull this week?
I got 4 comic books this week, Mark, and you know
Week.
what? I'm I mean, yeah, I know. I feel such shame when I walk around when I'm just like, "Oh man, this is all I have." But I'm actually really happy with this. There's 2 that are familiar and then 2 that are new. Um so yeah,
Okay.
let's start with one of the new ones. This is Blink number 4 from
Ooh.
Oni Press. Um yeah, this is just a story about trying to uncover this girl's past. I'm honestly not up to date. I talked about it a couple episodes with Andy. Yeah, go back
Yeah.
and listen to that. What was that?
I said, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 you partying in the USA. But this seems like a party in the USA. Not really. This is called Double Nightfall Feature. It's from Vault Comics, and
Oh.
there's I guess 2 stories, and it seems like it's by like a different creative team because look at all the names up top.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but you know that I'm a sucker for like those old VHS looking comic book covers that like look
Yeah.
from like pulp horror movies or whatever. But
Is that a
I
variant cover or is that the actual cover?
I think this is the actual cover.
Okay.
Yeah, and I said it
Because
was
that's
from
what
Vault,
cover
right?
A stands for is actual cover. I don't know if people know that.
Really?
No,
Then what
I'm
is
just kidding. I have no
oh.
idea.
Well, hey, you're much smarter than me, so you suckered me in, you little bugger. But yeah, I don't know anything about the stories. Actually, you know what? That's not true. One of the stories is about a scientist and a priest trying to uncover like a crime or something together. So
Yeah.
I like science and religion, so that figured that would be good for me. And it's horror. I don't even know if we said this, but a bunch of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today is like spooky themed. So I feel like
There's a bit of spooky theme stuff. Yeah.
pretty much all my comics are spooky related. I mean,
Well,
this first one I got, there's like a weird demon man on like there's 2. Like what's
I mean,
happening there?
it is spooky time.
It is spooky time. This is called Nightfall. That's kind of close to Nightmare. And then this
Yeah.
next one that I got is called Chopping Block, and it's from Keen Spot. I've never heard of Keen Spot at all.
Neither have I.
This
That's
is
a
a
new
number
one to
like I
me.
said, this is a number 1. I don't really know anything about this, but it's the script is by Ryan Honane and Adam Harold. Illustrations are by Lee Adam Harold, as well as well, it was created by Lee Adam Harold. So must have been his idea, and then they worked together on a script. But I did pull up a summary. I think
Uh,
if you want me to read that to you,
yes, please do.
okay.
I want to know
Um,
what it's about. Tell me.
All right. So I think this is from the perspective of I don't know who, but it says, "Hello again, kin. Do you smell that? That wet, thick smell of turned earth and rot? Yes, our brother Butch has wrestled aside the lid of the cold stone vault and clawed his way up through the dirt to stand in the moonlight once again. For mother has called, and a good son must answer."
Ooh.
I'm not going to continue to read it, but yeah. Um, it seems the guy. in the book looks like Bert and Ernie. If you look at my screen or whichever one he is, doesn't that look like
Oh
a Muppet?
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
anyways, it just seems to
Sorry,
be a fun
what's the publisher again?
Keen Spot, Keen.
Oh, there it is. I found it.
Yeah.
Uh,
I wanted to say this. I'm glad I opened it because the illustrations inside are very like child booky. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but because like kids book, like they have to be well illustrated to like keep the kids' attention. And
yeah.
yeah, I think it's very reminiscent of that, let's say. Yeah, because even like something like that, like I don't know what's happening there, but yeah.
I'm
So
I'm kind of curious because I'm looking on League of Comics right now, and I went to the Keen Spot page, and that is the only comic that is listed on their page. Wait, hang on. That's
oh my
nope.
goodness,
Never
what?
mind. Never mind.
Oh,
I
Mark.
was not in the right spot. There I go.
Oh,
Just
Mark. You're
jumping
always
ahead of
in the right
myself.
spot with me, buddy. I
Oh,
don't know
thanks,
what that
man.
means.
I don't. Well, we'll figure that out as time goes on.
Well, hey, this last one that I got is one that I know that you got as well. Can you guess what it is? If you watched my reel, you might have seen it.
Oh, I did see it because I was like, I have that one too, and now I'm blanking on
Oh, you got
just
this.
show. Okay, okay.
There it
Oh
is.
yes, yes, yes. Let me pull mine out of my stack here so I don't redo it. Did we get the same cover?
I believe that we did, and for those of you who are listening, it is Stuff
Yeah,
of Nightmares from R.L. Stein, published by Boom Studios, and we'll be talking about
yeah,
Boom Studios later.
we
But
will.
yeah. So this is
I love this cover. I love the art on here. I love the Frankie just sitting there on top of a dead body, eating
I
parts of a dead body. Apparently,
it's very reminiscent of Goosebumps, obviously for obvious reasons, and
yeah,
it's also what was I going to say? It's very reminiscent of like older comics because of the fact that they have the characters like named on the side. I think that that's clever. I don't think
yeah,
enough comic books do that. I think comic books just kind of assume that you're going to remember the names of the characters, but I think any like good comic book boy is reading a bunch of comics, you know.
yeah.
So
No, I've noticed that too. Like when you get like a variant cover that's a rendition of like something from like the Golden to Silver Age comics, you'll see that they do put like the names on front, or at least like the faces of the characters that are going to be in there. Um, and you know who else does that? They don't do it on the cover, but they do it on the first on the inside part of the cover. That is it's that
where's
one
the
we really
farthest
like.
face from
Yeah,
clear?
yeah, where's the farthest place from here? Yeah,
Yep.
they have all the characters, and then like they scratch them off as they die.
Oh, it's so sad to just watch them like get plucked off. I don't know if I talked about this on here that I got that the trade paperback of the first one.
Yeah,
It's so
they come with
beautiful.
the album.
No, I just got the trade paperback just at the store. So
Yeah,
it didn't have it. I could have ordered it online, but I honestly don't listen as somebody who looks like as hipsters I tend to do sometimes. I don't listen to vinyl that much.
what do you
But
mean you don't look like a hipster sometimes with your
with my
PBR
PBR
hat
hat.
on?
Yeah. Oh no. Well, anyways, man, those are my pulls. I'm really happy with them. I got a nice combination of stuff that I've had before and like new stuff that I'm genuinely curious about. So
Yeah,
that's my
cool,
stuff. How
man.
about you?
Well, I got some stuff. I actually got a few more than I was expecting to get, which is fine, I guess. But
That's gonna be in our drinking game when they start to do that. Mark got more comics than he was expecting.
that's true.
I
We
didn't
should
have
make
one in
that.
my box. I mean, yeah,
Oh,
like
you didn't?
no, like Blink
But
should have been
yeah,
in there, but I normally just grab it off the shelf
yeah,
because it's
you're more of a the shelf peruser. I don't. For me, just with how my life goes, I don't.
you gotta get in and out.
I did go peruse the shelf today.
Oh, well, that's
But I
probably
don't
why you have
normally I'm
one.
just in and out because I keep good communication with my what I saw the acronym to the LCS,
What does that mean?
my local comic shop.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Um
support LCS.
I'm yeah, please do. So my first one is one that actually came out last week or 2 weeks ago because you talked about it last week, but I finally
Yeah.
got my first issue of Chicken Devils. So I'm
Nice.
excited about that one. I don't need to say much more because you already showed yours and talked about it last week, and that's great. So we'll move on.
You're great.
This next one, I had actually asked to stop pulling,
Oh
and this
no.
will be the last one that I get. But
Oh,
I also I hadn't read any of the ones that I first started pulling because I was supposed to start with issue 5 when I originally subscribed to my shop. My shop never got me issue 5, so then I never read any of them. And so I
good.
was like, I'm probably not gonna hop on this. And then I
Hmm.
said something really stupid last week where I was like, I don't know if these two comics are tied together, but they are. I got House of Slaughter number 10 here,
Nice.
um, which is connected to something we'll be talking about from Boom Studios
Yeah, I was gonna say let's save
later.
that for later so that we
Yeah,
can segue into that.
yeah.
Oh,
And then I
there's
got
some sizzle for you.
here's some sizzle. Here's speaking of sizzle, we got some Dr. Afra. This is issue 25. I'm still really digging Dr. Afra. I'm just I can't remember if this is I think this is the final issue for this latest arc where Dr. Afra has been taken over by the Spark Eternal or Eternal Spark or whatever it was called. So
Spark Eternal
um
sounds better. Let's go with that.
yeah. And then next I got one that you stopped getting.
Oh,
I got
classic me.
I got the finale of New Think, issue number 5.
I really like that cover, and so did our buddy Brewbreaker's Muse. I saw
Oh
that
yeah,
he pointed that out, but and then I had to go and look, and that's a great cover.
it
They
is.
this the covers for this series have been great. Are the stories as good, Mark? Just give me a quick yes or no.
No, no.
Well, that's fine.
I'm
Oh yeah,
I so I mean I really liked the first issue. I thought the second issue was okay. I think I really liked the third issue, and then the last issue was it was cool because it was the one where it was there was a sage, a bunch of sages kind of speaking the same thing in their own language and their cultural context of just what the future was going to look like. And while this is all going on, they're showing images of what present day is and how much stuff has come true. And so
Mhm.
I really like the idea of it, but it wasn't a very gripping story for me. But yeah, this is the finale. I stuck with it. I'll read the finale and see what I think of it.
You report
And
back.
and I'll report back next week. The next one I'm pretty excited about. Issue 1 was absolute thriller, and I don't expect anything less of this one. But it's issue number 2 of The Boogeyman.
Nice.
And I got this is another one I'm holding on to until I can get the first series. But issue number 3 of Barbaric or Axe to Grind came
Ooh.
out today.
I'm not gonna
And
lie, I don't remember that very much.
yeah, it's all right. I don't really know anything about it. And then I got the Roadie issue number 2. I'm we'll see how I feel about this issue. I wasn't
The
really a
breaking
huge
point.
yeah, I wasn't really a huge fan of issue 1. If issue 2 cannot grip me, I'm probably gonna drop it. This next one I'm also very excited about. Vanish number 2. I
Nice.
loved issue 1. I expect great things from issue 2.
Sorry about my dog back there.
That's okay. You probably just have a stranger trying to get in your house.
That's exactly what happened. Oh, hey, our buddy Brewbreaker's Muse left a
Hey, you made
comment
it.
for it. Hello. Says I'm almost glad my shop was sold out of that today.
Of Vanish.
Oh no. Yeah, let us know which one you were talking about there.
Yeah. Or was he talking about the roadie?
I guess we're gonna find out together.
Because yeah, if he's glad about something being sold out and he couldn't get it, I'd probably be like, yeah, the roadie's sold out, whatever. I don't need it. This last one is issue number 1 of
Yeah, it
the
was the
Riddler.
roadie.
Yeah, right on.
Right on.
So this is actually written by Paul Dano. So this is a prequel to the
Right.
movie The Batman. I
Ooh.
really, really like Paul Dano. I have never seen a movie of his I did not like. I've never read anything
I
that
drink
he's
your
written before.
milkshake. Sorry, that was that wasn't him, but that's that's the only thing I can think of him from that movie is a bowling pin
Oh, right.
related.
There Will
Yeah.
Be Blood. That's what you're
Yep.
referencing. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
And then it is the artist is Steven Subic.
Okay, Steven
Um,
Subic.
but yeah, so this is supposed to be like just the origin story of the Riddler of um, the Batman. There will be blood, says Brubaker's Muse.
That's a great movie. I watched
But
it by
yeah,
myself, and it was one of those movies the whole time I'm like, "What is happening? What is this man? What is happening?"
yeah. No, I
And then,
remember
like,
seeing
somebody
it in
gets murdered.
theaters, and yeah, I was like, okay, what's going on? This is really slow, but it is a great film, and Paul Dano killed it in that movie.
Yeah.
And speaking of Paul Dano, getting back to Riddler Year One, it is a prequel to the Batman, as I said. But it is a 6-issue miniseries, so it's not like a continuous thing that he's going to be doing. So
Interesting.
yeah, but I think that's a solid move on Dano's part. He's probably a busy guy making movies and stuff. So
I mean, but this is gonna be is this technically continuity to the Batman?
yeah, it's a prequel.
See, this is where I think, and we've talked about this before, this is where Marvel, I think, really drops the ball. The fact that they didn't jump on with comics at the beginning. They did like some prequel comics and stuff, but I think you
Yeah,
really could have built out that world and fleshed out just, because how many villains did Iron Man really have in his time as Iron Man outside of like Avengers villains? He had like three, maybe four if you count the Mandarin, like,
yeah.
and
If
Flaming Dragon Man. Do you remember Flame Dragon Man? What's his
Flaming
name?
Dragon Man.
It was the guy who yelled, "I am the Mandarin," even though he wasn't the
Oh,
Mandarin. Oh,
oh, yeah.
Guy Pearce is the name of the actor. I can't for the life of me remember the name of the character. Um,
Yeah. I can't either.
anyways,
Those
uh,
weren't that the Iron Man 2 and 3 are kind of low on my list of favorite MCU films.
yeah, for sure. Let's see what our buddy said. I am so much more into DC now than Marvel, and that hasn't ever been close in 40 plus years. Whew.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
I
don't know.
don't really
DC's
tend towards
making
either of
moves
them.
right now.
I mean, they really are, especially with we didn't really talk about the James Gunn thing.
Oh
We
yeah.
don't have to go into that, but yeah, I think they're slowly getting their act together. And like going back to comics, I do genuinely think that like what you're missing like so much, like nerds will eat this up if they like if you think like they like the movie, and like I'm sure other movies always do good sales for like whatever comics. Like why would you
Yeah.
not want to tie something in and like that it gives depth to the character? Because I think so many people who love these art forms love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um
No, it's like
yeah,
I would love to know like what each MCU character has done in between films. I mean,
yeah,
they
and it's
like
a
sometimes they'll give kind of like an 80s montage type thing of like this is what they were up to for a bit until now we're at this point of the movie. But yeah, yeah. Brubaker has no interest in the MCU anymore, and like
yeah.
that's valid. A lot of people are losing their interest in the MCU, and
Yeah,
that's fine.
I think like
But
yeah.
kind of going back though too with like yeah you can give so much more depth to the characters, and like that's one of the reasons like I do love the Star Wars comics is just because there's so much more character building going on, and there's just been so much like love of Star Wars since 1977 that the comics today are now giving Star Wars nerds like I consider myself one, just like more depth to not just each individual characters, but just like the stories, and and even too with like Andor being out, we're getting more into like exploring like the political aspects of Star Wars, and like that's really cool to me because it's always just like why were the separatists and you know the was it the Republic?
Sure.
Yeah. Like why were they at odds? Like what's all the background of all the political debate in there? And like they kind of touch on it in the movies, but they're not super focused on it. And so a lot of the conversations that I've seen online is like people want like who's the biggest content creator for Star Wars is Star Wars
Dave
Theory.
Filoni?
No,
No.
no, I'm talking about
Oh.
like YouTube, like social media stuff. Like Star
Oh,
Wars Theory
sure.
does like so much stuff, and like he and a buddy of his that he does this format with once a week. Like they've talked a lot about how they want to see Star Wars get more into like the background of like what's actually going on across the
Mhm.
entire galaxy, And so it is cool. And so DC going forward with like, yeah, let's tie in comics to the movies and stuff. Like I think it's great. So I'm excited
I
to read the
agree.
Riddler. So
Yeah,
well,
I
now
agree.
that we got through our polls, it's time to get into our dialogue about things that we loved reading in this last week.
Well, there was one specific story that I feel like we don't have to spend the majority of the time on, but I feel like let's just set up the story of how this came to be. Because I get a text
Yeah.
from you at like, I think it what, it's late last week, like Friday or Saturday, something like that. And you're
Yeah.
like, I just finished volume 3 of Something is Killing the Children. And you seemed really stoked on it. Was it at that point, or was it somewhere else? I can pull up the
Oh
text
no,
right
I
now.
no, like it was like after I finished volume 3, that's when I messaged you and was like, man, these are on Comixology. Like one of the guys from Comic Book Lair actually turned me on to it. And
Okay, nice. Shout out to them.
because he had posted he had started reading it, and I was like, man, I kind of like had been watching that one, um, but just never really wanted to hop on yet. And then when I saw that it was on Comixology, I was like, oh, I might as well. And then right after issue 1 ended, I was like, I'm hooked, and
Mm.
I just burned through the first 4 volumes in a matter of a couple days.
Well, Mark, let me tell you that feeling of reading issue number 1 and being hooked, apparently that you are not alone. I learned this at my comic book shop today because I brought this up with the lovely gentleman who owns the place. Um, Apparently they did 8 reprintings of issue number 1. So that means that
That's
they
a
were
that's a lot for Boom
yeah.
Studios.
Oh my god, yeah, that's a lot for any studio to be getting that many. That's crazy. So that means when they were on issue 6, they were still printing issues number 1. That's
That's crazy.
wild.
That
Yeah.
is wild.
Um,
But yeah, like the first arc is like an award-winning uh series.
is it really?
Yeah.
Man.
I don't know about the second and third, but I know the first one, or it might be down to specific issues, but yeah, the author, James Tinian the fourth.
Nice.
Yeah, like I think he won an award for like the writing, and I don't know if Werther Deladera, the artist, I'm not sure if he won an award or if they both won an award together, but
Mm,
there's awards that have been won for that series, and man, yeah, no, it's such as a solid like plot. And I love
yeah.
okay, so like the first 3 volumes kind of cover the same storyline of here's our protagonist Erica, and something's killing the children, and she's there to do something about it, and like that whole story gets wrapped up in volume 3. But then volume 4 is a prequel, and it goes back to how Erica became Erica, at least like how she got initiated into what is known as the House of Slaughter, which was the comic I got issue 10 of today, which is a spin-off series also done by Tinian and Deladera, and it focuses on her. He writes like 17 bucks.
So
Yeah.
damn prolific like Snyder. I'm gonna have to start
Yeah.
reading them because yeah, I mean you can keep going, but man, I was super impressed with this. Um,
Yeah.
so
So yeah, like I don't know if I'm gonna hop on it to
House of
pull.
Slaughter.
Yeah, but I'm definitely just gonna be watching for new issues to release on Comixology and just read it that way.
Yeah,
And it's the same thing too with House of Slaughter, is because I found out those issues that I hadn't gotten yet, 1 through 5, 1 through 6 are all available on Comixology right now, and
interesting.
I have 7. I have issues 7, 8, and 10. So I will
Wow.
just have to try to get issue 9. I'll probably,
Oh,
I don't know.
and the guy's only 25. Woo. He
Hot damn.
hot damn indeed. Um, yeah, so I I really enjoyed this book. For those of you who like haven't listened much, um, I'm a big fan of comics that can do depth with little dialogue, not constantly needing to be like explaining everything that's happening, but allowing
Yeah.
the ambiance of the like allowing a lot of that subtle text to go to the artist rather than just put it in a think box or a
Well,
whatever.
yeah, and in that too, it's just like, I mean, Erica, the character of Erica totally sets that tone for it, and just kind of like how dismissive she is of the younger boy that's trying to tag along with her, but like at
Mm,
the same time she like really cares about children, doesn't want children to go through the same experience that uh she went through, like doesn't want to pull him in, like so she has a very caring heart, but she's just also so dismissive, and she's dismissive because she has a job to do, and if she doesn't do her job, like more children will die.
yeah.
And
Um, let's oh, got another comment here saying he does a few Substack only books worth signing up. That is very tempting. I really like the premise of doing stuff like that, of supporting artists and like any faction, whether that be like through Patreon or Substacks. Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Tongue twister, that one.
Yeah. Um, but I think that the premise of this book, I don't know how much I don't there's not much you can spoil outside of like character deaths. But
Yeah.
the story is the premise that the kid, I don't want know if this is a spoiler or not, but the fact that the monsters are only visible by certain individuals, is that a spoiler? I don't.
No, I don't think
Okay,
so.
so the only the kids can see the monsters, and I really like the how do you say that, the relationship between mind and like matter, and that like kids are kind of in this world where they can create them, because doesn't that kid kind of feel like he created it or something like that, and
Yeah.
isn't that they kind of latch on to like fear, right, and they're kind of birthed out of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Um,
such an interesting concept, and it wasn't like super, I don't know, it was like a good sci-fi that was very explained.
yeah. Um, that's really interesting too. That Tinian's only 25 years old, because I mean he's a part of the Batman series, but he also wrote for the Batman series that went on during 2011 and through 2016, which was like the New 52.
Would he have been
Um,
15 then?
well, all of his are from, let's see, his earliest one
Oh,
is
right.
2013. Yeah, so he had, if he's only 25, he had to have been a teenager when he was writing Batman. But was he
That's
the writer?
insane.
That's,
Oh, I guess
let
that's
me see.
fair. He could have been something else.
Nope, he's the writer.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
Imagine being a teenager writing Batman. Uh, I'm on his free list, and I still get him. Got to read The Closet #1 through there months ago. I've heard really good things about The Closet #1.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I
No,
never. Oh,
I went.
okay. Now I just realized that was him. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. This guy likes his horror comics, I guess. And I've really been a fan. Oh, 34. He's 34. Okay.
Uh,
That makes more sense then. I was gonna say a teenager writing Batman,
well,
but
it's
still, I mean, that's
still,
a guy in his
he's in
20s.
his young 20s banging out some sweet ass comics. Like,
Oh my goodness. I don't know where do you go from reading, I guess that's crazy. You go, I was gonna say, where do you go from writing Batman comics, but then you go on to write like an award-winning like series that you created on your own. So
yeah.
I guess that answered itself, obviously. Um, yeah, so I don't know. What's your insight into this comic? What do you think about it?
House of Slaughter.
No,
Or no, sorry, something's killing children.
yeah.
Um, no, I love it. It's a definite like page turner. Like I'm very gripped by the stories and the panels. Like the art is magnificent. And I also just love too how the artist is able to. I really like when the artist can draw the emotion on characters' faces, or like essentially do body language through the characters in a panel. And there's just so much of that that like happens. And, a lot of the dialogue of Erica is just like one word, like
Mm,
sentences like shit or shut up
sure.
or
Or
like,
yeah, like yes, no. Like she's very forthright.
yeah.
But I feel like from the get-go this guy had like this whole world planned out. You know what I mean? Like
I'm sure he played around with the ideas for quite some time before
because
he
how
started putting
well
it.
like volume 1 goes into volume 2 and 3. Volume oh, our buddy's heading
Thanks for
out.
joining us, man.
Oh, uh, got a bolt, guys. Thanks for the show in the chat. Have a great night. You too. Thanks for swinging by, buddy. Go follow our friend Brew Baker's Muse on Instagram. He posts a lot of great stuff. Yeah,
He reads a
he's
lot.
reads a lot. Makes
Yeah.
me jealous. I always get jealous of people who can read more. And yeah, I'm I'm glad people are out there reading comics. That's all I guess I can say.
Yeah.
But all right, man. Got anything else you want to say about this?
Yeah, I'm also gonna say I'm on issue 3 now of House of Slaughter, and it still carries over that same intensity that Something's Killing the Children has, but it is through the eyes of her kind of Erica's brother in the House of Slaughter,
Okay.
and so it's more of his story, but you know, and we do meet him in House of or in
Something's
Something's Killing
killing
the
it.
Children, but I don't want to get too into that, but yeah, no, it's really good, and it's exploring that same world, that same universe, and so I'm enjoying it. Uh, but so far, I try to rate my comics when I can, and Comixology makes it easy because like when you finish reading, it's like, what would you rate this? And so, um,
Mm,
I was very jazzed with Something's Killing the Children. They all got 5 stars. I read the volumes.
nice.
Um, and House of Slaughter is more of a 4 star to me, but it's still got a lot of that same hype in it.
Nice.
So worth checking out once you finish reading through Killing the Children.
Yeah, I would definitely, the last thing I would say is I felt like this as I was reading, I'm like, this is something I could return to annually, because it's
Yeah,
such an easy read and just a great classic horror story,
and like at that too. Just I was surprised how fast I was reading through the volumes, but
Yeah,
like that,
I blew
right?
through them too.
Like it, I sat like I think right after I text you, I really did start volume 4 and I finished it that same night.
There you go. That's
So
impressive.
yeah. But yeah, we got another one we both want to talk about.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know actually know if
it's
I have mine on me. I don't think I do.
well, mine's right above my head. The silver coin.
Oh no, oh, I thought you were gonna attempt to grab it. It's okay.
No, I'll move my head out of the way.
There
There's
you
the
go.
cover. There's a
Zoom in on
fireman.
it. Pinch and
And
zoom.
yeah, you can go back if you last week and you could see the cover if you want to watch it on YouTube, or you could just find it yourself. But if you've been following the show, I'm really good at knocking my comics off these little shelves here, so I'm not going to touch them.
Not at
Um,
all.
how about you messaged me this week, and or no, I messaged you and asked if you had read it, and
Mhm.
you were pretty excited in your response. So
Well, I was okay about it. I mean, that's kind of how I don't know. Anyways, what are we talking about? We're talking about the silver coin.
the silver
Um,
coin. This is
this is
that
number
issue. It's
15.
number 15. It's
Right.
Into the Fire, and
Right. I
yeah.
really loved that this kind of picked up from issue 1. Um, right?
Oh,
Because the hand that's reaching out of the fire that he grabs it from, I'm pretty sure is how the guy in the first issue dies because he burns down the venue
I
that they're
did
playing.
not pick up on that.
Yep. I was waiting for a callback like that. Because I was always curious as to because they don't really talk about, or maybe they do, or maybe I'm wrong because now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like issue 2 might pick up straight after that. Oh no, now you got me doubting myself.
Well, hang on. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up a review of this issue because I'm sure that the reviewers that do such a great job and have their websites dedicated to reviewing comics, I'm sure they got something in there about it.
Yeah,
Um,
also, we could probably just look up the silver coin number 2, and if it's about a firefighter, then we know that, or maybe this is, like, giving more depth to that firefighter? I don't know, because the guy in this is a firefighter, and
yeah,
that's would have been the person who grabbed the, coin from him at the end of issue number 1.
yeah,
Um, so the silver coin, for those of you who don't know, I'll explain it while Mark is looking up at some reviews, is that there is this cursed coin that has been passed around for generations upon generations, hundreds of years, I would say. And
yeah,
I mean, it goes back to Pilgrim times, and it goes into Jeff Lemire's weird future. Um, I
yeah.
there's only like one issue in the future, but yeah, it just follows the story of this coin. So each how do you say this?
Ah,
Oh, I think we might have found something. But
okay.
Oh,
Go on. I'll
I
get
was
to
just gonna
the.
say each issue is a different story, but it's always following the same coin. Except there's some overlapping issues. There's usually at issue
Yeah,
number 5 and 10. This one didn't. It had the priest guy in it who was a through line, but he
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
really do
yeah,
much. He just kind of was like a eerie messenger,
yeah.
a harbinger
Um,
of doom, one would say.
so the firefighter that is in this issue has appeared in The Dancer, which was written by, or the art was it written by? Yeah, written by Vi- Vida Al- Alia. I don't know how to
Okay,
say that name quite correctly, but that was issue number 9, The
okay.
Dancer. Um, I'm trying to recall that one. Let me
I
see
can't
if the
really either.
uh, yeah. Anywho, but the other one that the
I can pull it up.
firefighter appeared in is The Diner, which was issue 1 of this arc, so it would have been issue 11.
Interesting.
The Diner, and do you know who you want to know who wrote The Diner?
Who? I forget.
James Tinian the fourth, and we both really really like that issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that was my favorite one of this arc, was issue number 1 or issue number 11.
Yeah, the first issue.
So that explains why I liked it, because apparently I like James Tinian the fourth.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find some stuff that he's onto. And I mean, we got a bunch of good recommendations from our buddy. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and oh, that's what I was gonna say too. I did go down like a rabbit hole of him just to see what else he's written, and he has quite a few things that are available on Comixology, so I might explore those later this week. But
nice.
I like getting obsessed with the writer.
Yeah. It's right. I do feel like I'm trying to find my favorite writer, because I feel like I
I
like a
think
lot of what were you gonna say?
the key for me is I don't have a favorite writer.
Okay.
I just
Well,
want
there
to
you go.
have like I want to know that there's writers that I like really thoroughly enjoy what they put out. And I mean,
Right.
we've talked about a few on here. I mean, I believe our buddy Brubaker's Muse. I don't know if he's a Brubaker. I think he's Brubaker's Muse, as in like Ed Brubaker.
Yeah. That's
We'll
what
have to ask him
that's
about that. I mean, he's gone now, but he might listen to the rest of this later and hit us up.
yeah.
But we can
Let
always
us
just
know
reach
about
out to
that.
him. Yeah.
It's reverse
Um,
fan mail.
yeah, but I mean, there are just so many like comic book creators, some great writers and great artists, and that just and I've stated this before on this podcast, but like I didn't really get into that until we started this podcast. I was just more
Mm,
into like, what's the story about? I don't really care who wrote it or who drew it. Was the art good? I never really paid attention to that stuff until like we started doing this podcast, and it's opened up a lot of doors for me in the comic book world
yeah.
to explore like a creator's work.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
probably wouldn't have found Kick-Ass maybe if it wasn't for John Romita Jr., who did the drawings for the first comic I ever read. And Kick-Ass was one of my favorite comics for the longest time. I haven't read it in a
yeah,
very long time. But we're doing a bad job talking about the silver coin. What
we
did you
are.
uh what did you think of this arc? What did you think of
Um,
this issue? I was
yeah.
um
Now that I know
it
that there is like the connectivity, like it gives it a couple pluses for me. But
yeah,
I was fairly nonplussed with the issue overall, because
yeah.
I can it kind of was just like, oh, here's Gollum. Like, it's my precious, like that's
Yeah.
kind of what it seemed like to me. Um,
Mm,
but at the same time, like the art again was impeccable. Like Walsh does a
mhm.
great job of illustrating this series. Um, and I don't know, it just this whole arc overall, this third one just didn't really do it for me. I
Yeah.
mean, like,
It
yeah,
felt very like it felt like a fever dream, the whole kind of arc. And I think
yeah, like go into that. How do you mean?
just like the art, like a lot of it wasn't as coherent as it had been in the past, and just a lot of like jumping between like different realities or like states of consciousness, and just
Yeah,
being like, whose perspective am I seeing this from? Who's whatever. But that's not true of all of them. But I guess the ones that are like most standing out to me are like the phone booth one, the which is the New Year's Eve one.
yeah,
Um,
that's the one that takes place over the course of 2020, right?
No, I'm talking about the one that she's like giving birth and she's trying to call the baby daddy, and then
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I
yeah.
that so that one for the shock value of it, like I did really like it, um but that's probably my second favorite one of this arc.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
still
I would
again
just say that I
it
would
was
agree with
fairly
you that the diner
lackluster.
was my favorite one. Um, I didn't I thought that the one of the soldier in the war, I thought that that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I would agree with you that this wasn't my favorite. But he's taken some time off. I don't know if you saw that at the end.
Yeah, Silver
Um,
Coin's going on hiatus. Walsh is starting a family.
yeah,
He
so
wrote a
congratulations
he
to
wrote
him.
all of his readers a nice message. So yeah, congrats to Mr. Michael Walsh.
Even though we
Um,
just like sounded like we weren't too happy with your comic, we really, I mean, we genuinely love it, you know.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I'm gonna stay on this comic as long as it's coming out. So uh,
yeah. So
yeah,
whenever it picks up again after this hiatus, and he also stated he just has so many other projects going on too.
yeah. I mean,
So
there's
he might be a creator worth exploring outside of what we know of him. So I might look
100%.
into more. I might actually even have to look back, because another thing too about me not really hopping on board of like knowing creators super well until we did this podcast is that when I went back and looked at how many comics I had like read over the years and how many of the authors I love today like wrote. I mean, uh, I didn't read Green Lantern yet, but like when we were on our Jeff Lemire kick, still like I still read him.
Hmm.
But like I went down, the Green Arrow that he wrote, and like I absolutely loved it. But at the same time, there's other people writing like New 52 DC comics. So I'm like, oh yeah, like I wish I had known that I was reading this great artist's work
Right.
at that time. But that was then, and this is now. As
That's what they say. That's what they say. That is then, and this is then. Oh boy. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else I want to say about the good old silver coin, other than if you haven't read it, I know it didn't sound like we're highly recommending, but I would say that's genuinely one of my top 5 favorite comics.
Yeah,
So
and what
like
I would say
ongoing
too is
comics.
for anybody who hasn't read it yet, like go ahead and go back, start with issue one. Like
Yeah,
you now
those
have
they're
15
evergreen.
issues to that you can get through, and it is wonderful. And again, like even just for the art, I would say it's worth reading through the whole series up to this point. So yes, yes, we kind of gave uh, I
Let's
like
say
how
some let's say
I
some
like
positives real quick. I feel like we
okay,
could definitely, because there's definitely um I think he was trying to do something a little bit more of diving into the depth of the coin itself, of
yeah,
what is the evil behind the coin. So I think, again, like I talked about earlier, is there was kind of this jumping between perspectives, and it was a lot of like the coin's narrative, or it's like you could see like the perspective from the coin a little bit more in this arc than I think you had. The other, it was more of just
yeah.
like a MacGuffin that just meant death, you know?
Yeah.
So
No, no, no. I think you're right on that, and I might go back and read through them at some point if I have some time. I still have quite a bit to catch up on, but
I guarantee that a lot of these are ones that if we went back on, we would probably enjoy them more.
yeah, like if I could go back and just read the whole series through, I'd probably appreciate this last arc a lot more, and that's probably going to be true if I do it. So,
Yeah,
um, well, hey man, you got something else you
I
wanna
do.
talk about?
I got one. I'll probably talk about this a little bit more than just the normal shout out, but
That's fine.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, you
Uh,
posted about this.
yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog Scrapnik Island. So I was, I, again, it's spooky season. That's what we're kind of talking about tonight. I was looking for something that was something that me and my girlfriend are doing, are watching, like Halloween movies from the '90s. So we
Oh,
watched Hocus
nice.
Pocus and Halloween Town, and so I'm like, I want something that's like in the similar vein of this.
Did you
Like
watch the new Hocus Pocus?
I did watch the new Hocus Pocus. I like that
Okay.
she got like Iron Man powers at the end. Um, but that's a very telling time, very telling of the time. But yeah, so I just wanted something that was like simple and fun, and Sonic the Hedgehog. And I said this on my post, like it delivered like on everything that I wanted it to be. It was just a fun little cute story. Tails and Sonic are on a plane. They're caught in a storm, and they're forced to do an emergency landing on this like big hunk of metal that's floating out in the ocean. And it
Oh,
used to be something, but I can't remember what it was. It was like a Dr. Robotnik. It's called the Death Egg. Yeah, there it is.
okay.
Um, yeah, you can kind of see it. It's that big globe looking thing
Ooh,
right there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so they land on it, and then Sonic is he hurts his leg. So Sonic breaks his ankle or something like that, and he's got a
How will
cast
he
on
run?
poorly, and it'll hurt him. But it's filled with like a bunch of, I don't want to spoil it, but they're Sonic is running away from some things, and then they turn out to be adorable little friends. And
Oh,
there seems to be a larger story going to happen. Obviously, he's on this island, and like towards the end of it, some like weird creature looked like it was. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna spoil this comic because it's a Sonic comic, but there's like this evil Western looking Sonic who's gonna go after him.
ooh.
So
Wait,
y-
keep that up. I need to get a little. I need a little bit closer.
you get a little, you get
Well,
as close.
there's kind of a glare.
Yeah,
Okay,
look at that.
okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that drawing.
That is a good drawing.
Yeah.
So are these. These are fun. Look at these fun Sonic drawings, and you're missing all of this if you're just listening to the audio.
That's one of the things too that's really cool about IDW because they do pick up like these IPs that have been around for a while. I mean, they do a lot of Ninja Turtles, they do Sonic, obviously, they do My Little Pony. Every once in a while, I get my daughter a My Little Pony comic, but she's
Nice.
not. It's been a while since I've gotten her one because she hasn't really asked. Um, but yeah, so they do some great stuff, and they have something coming out that I'm fairly excited about. There is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers crossover with Godzilla.
I do.
Well, there's one coming out, and I believe it's IDW. I don't know who else it would be other than Boom, because Boom does a lot of Power Rangers stuff, but IDW also does a lot of Power Rangers stuff. And
Hmm.
IDW also does a lot of, I've already stated, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And there's a crossover of Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out.
Oh
So
man, we're gonna have to read
I
that.
oh yeah, I've already notified my shop that I want it. So
Dear shop, you've been notified.
my
Uh,
LCS.
there you go. Gotta love that LCS. I'm gonna have to let I was gonna say my local LCS. But yeah, man, I'm genuinely looking forward to the rest of the story because I've been wanting to jump on Sonic since the movie came out, and
Yeah.
they're like they're very deep into their current run, and I think I'm just gonna probably catch up on Comixology. They're genuinely like in the 60s, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's been running for quite a while. Like I think it's one of those series too that they always put out a free comic book day issue.
Right? Yeah, that's
Because
where I got one
at
last
least
year of them.
yeah, at least to my memory, the last 2 years there's been a Sonic free comic book.
Yeah, but
So
anything you want to talk about real quick,
let me
or
think.
take your time? Look behind you.
Oh
What's there?
yeah, I'm gonna I am gonna pull this one down because it's not attached to other ones.
Oh, look
Um,
at you.
yeah. So
Ooh.
10,000 Black Feathers issue 2 came out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I had said like in who was our other buddy we were talking to? It was
Canceled comics.
Cancel Comics. Like him and I both like. I don't know if he read the free comic book day issue, but like that definitely like set my hype about this series because the free comic book day issue is just really really good. Like
Mm,
I think I ended up getting 2 of them somehow. I didn't necessarily mean to. I think I went in and like got mine, and then I think that I had them on like my pull list that I send my shop, and so then they put one in my box, and I was like, well, whatever, I'll take it. I can give it to somebody.
right.
Um, Actually, I think I did. I think I gave it to my brother-in-law.
There
Um,
you go. Perfect Christmas gift. A comic you don't
yeah,
want.
yeah. But he's really into horror, so that's why I gave it to him.
Nice.
Because I was like, this is actually really a really good horror comic, so I gave it to him. And then Passageway came out, and like I think that's and it came out as a hardcover like single issue. I think it's like 68 pages or something like that. Maybe a little less, but it's more than a regular sized issue, which is typically about like 32-ish pages, I think.
Yeah.
Um
Or like 62 if it's a big one.
yeah, and so it was a bigger one, and I don't know. I'm starting to see the world that they're building with this Bone Orchard mythos, because that's what it all is. I don't remember what
Right.
the I think I don't know what the Free Comic Book Day one was called, but then the Bone Orchard mythos Passageway came out earlier this year, and like I did really like it and appreciate it, but I also kind of felt like there was a lot more questions still left by the end of it.
Mm.
And I thought that these questions would maybe be explored and answered more in 10,000 Black Feathers, but then issue one just left you with more questions. And this issue kind of answers some of those questions of issue one. It doesn't really get into like the passageway too much. Actually, not at all, as far as I can tell. But also this one's a little bit like of a lighter comic, and things I'm starting to appreciate about it is that Sorrentino, the artist, um, the way that he is penning these, or penciling, whatever, if he inks or pencils, I'm not sure. He probably just uses an iPad, to be honest. But he changes the tone based on like what's going on through his drawing, and so like some of them you're going to see are very like in the shadowy panels, it's very jagged, like rough sketch type stuff. But then when it gets back into like when the protagonist is flashing back to like the happy days, like it's
Mm.
very clean cut. There's more like pastel colors being used, and then in those shadowy ones, and the colors are being done by Dave Stewart, and Dave Stewart's again with the art using color very well to match Sorrentino's drawing, and I'm really appreciating that. I think it's just like, and like I already talked about, like I'm still reading Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire wrote this, and I guess one thing I can say with Lemire, he knows how to draw it out. Like, you think back to like Primordial,
Mm-hmm.
and like the premise was set in issue one. It was very exciting. And then like issues two, three, and four, like they were also like exciting, but like so much happened in like those few pages that like you were just still left with like, again, a lot of questions, like what's going on. And then
Yeah.
it's not until the final thing comes out that you're like, oh, okay, like this all comes together now. Because I remember not really enjoying reading through Primordial. I kept going with it because you and I were reading it together,
Mm-hmm.
and I did. Again, I just really enjoyed the art.
Yeah.
Because like I still think that the art done in Primordial might be like my favorite art in a comic I've ever seen,
Mm.
just for how things were laid out and the coloration, like all of it was just so well done. Like
Yeah,
it
and
just,
even the different styles of, there was trippier stuff in there, and that, I mean, probably would have been an iPad or something like that, or maybe that, I mean, I can't remember if the artist and the color are the same person in that one, but there was
yeah.
definitely whoever was doing it was doing a fantastic job.
But
Um,
but yeah, with 10,000 Black Feathers, you can say that Jeff, Andre, and Dave, they are a power team, and so like their
nice.
stuff is worth picking up. And I think that this 10,000 Black Feathers is just something that I need to be patient with. I know that a lot of reviews I've read have very highly praised it, and they've helped me like kind of adjust my initial opinion. Um, and so yeah, I'm enjoying it. I really liked issue two. It made issue one make a lot more sense, um, and I can kind of see, it's a slow build to the end, and I will stick with it because that's what I do. I stick with it.
Well, God bless you, buddy.
Yeah,
I believe in you, and I'm sure it'll be good, and I'm very excited to hear how it expands and unfolds here on this podcast. But
yeah,
I'm gonna do quick two shout outs,
yeah.
and then I will be ready to be shutting up. But I read Above Snakes number 4 this week. The story is probably going to be wrapping up next issue. It continues to be great. It's definitely one I want to go back on and just kind of reread, because now in this issue we were getting a lot more callbacks, and also there was a crazy narrator at the beginning of each story, and what he was doing kind of connects into what happens in this issue, but you
Hmm.
don't really notice because you just think he's like a crazy narrator just telling a story, not realizing that he's actually involved in some way. No
Right.
spoilers, but yeah, and it's just been really good. Hayden Sherman does the art, and I'm also love the lettering of Hassan Atman Alu, And Sean Lewis, I feel like I've read other stuff by him, but I really can't ever remember what it could possibly be. But that's far too long for a shout out. And also that Texas Blood.
Yeah,
Really loving this, man.
that's your series.
This is my series. It continues to be good. Yeah, I love this. This is just even this cover is fantastic. It does that thing which I don't really expect from I just look for this more in superhero comics than I do in like noir comics of the cover explaining what's going to be happening. But yeah, this definitely sums up what happens in this issue, and boy howdy, it's a good one, man. But
Yeah,
do you got any that you want to shout out real quick?
yeah,
I
pretty
keep
much
saying real
everything.
quick, but do it at your own speed, buddy. Do it at
Oh
your
no, it is going to be pretty quick. Sacrament issue 3, which is right here.
nice.
That you can tell that the like issue 3 was a setup for the final issues. I believe it's a
Mm,
5-issue arc. I don't know if it's going beyond that. I mean, AWA typically is one of those that they will do a 5-issue arc. Um, I'm really liking it, and it did a good job as an issue 3 of setting up the finale, and also kind of bringing to a culmination like what's happened in the first 2 issues. So if you're not reading Sacrament and you're looking for something that's like and like it describes itself as like a cross of your classic like Catholic horror film, like uh the one that comes to mind is like the Right, which Anthony Hopkins is in.
I don't
Like
think I know this movie.
it's a good one. I had to watch it back in my religious studies days of school, and
Oh, there you go.
I
That's
really
interesting.
enjoyed that movie. It's kind of like a cross with that, and like if it was crossed over with Alien, and
Interesting.
it's set in
And I really love
2099.
Alien.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
movie I've
set.
seen.
Yeah, so the series is set in 2099, so which is the verge of the next millennium, and humans have left Earth. Like they're on different planets and they're scattered out, and so like basically what's going on is like how are these Catholic demons like still around? Like we're not on Earth anymore, and
Mm,
religion has pretty much been done away with, and there's remnants of it, which is what the main protagonist is. He's a Catholic priest, but he's a Catholic priest he's struggling with whether or not he even believes in God anymore, but he still feels that he has to do his duty as a priest. And
classic Catholic priest in a
yeah, right.
narrative. Am I right?
Yeah,
They love it.
so I've really been enjoying that. I don't know anybody else that's reading it, so if you're listening or watching and you are reading it, like I'd love to hear what you think of it. Masquerade 2 came out last week. I did not enjoy it as much as I enjoyed issue 1, but it's
Mm,
not that I didn't enjoy it. It was still like really fun, and it just kind of explored the depth of one of the main characters a little bit more. And then the other thing over here, over my right shoulder, is Hyper Aware. There's a bit of a glare on it. I did post a review on this one
hmm.
earlier, I think earlier this week, or maybe it was late last week. I really did enjoy it. I wish it was going to extend on a little bit more, but the writer actually reached out to me, which is a first. I've never had like a writer reach out to me.
Oh,
He
really?
really, yeah, he told me like he appreciated my review. He told me he thought it was honest, and um
Nice.
and I was just at like I said something to him along the lines of like, man, I just wish it was like continuing on. And at first he said like, well, too bad it's at an end. And I said something like, well, now you're just turning the knife. And then he said,
Right.
well, it's not out of the question. So we might see more
Yeah.
from Hyper Aware. And then the writer also had a new issue come out today of the series. What was it called? Caffeinated.
Caffeinated.
It's not called
Caffeinated.
caffeinated. Hang on, I think I have it
You got
right.
this, Mark.
I got
I
this.
I bet it's something like caffeinated, like being
It's
pumped up.
called. Oh shoot! I moved it to my wish list. Shoot.
Not your wish
Uh,
list. What
yeah.
is this?
Well,
Amazon?
it might be called Caffeinated Hearts.
Caffeinated
Um,
hearts. Sounds
yeah,
dangerous.
yeah. Because if you over caffeinate a heart, it just might explode. Um, Hang on, let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, it is. It's called Caffeinated Hearts. It's from Source Point Press, who also put out this baby right here.
Nice. I
And I
enjoy
think,
Source Point.
Yeah, and I think it is also another one shot from them
Hmm.
that he's written, and he said he has another thing coming out down the road too that he was pretty excited about that I'll have to look into.
I really like one shots, man. I think more
Yeah,
people would benefit from them. So long
yeah,
live the one shot and the annuals. I just saw that there was a Daredevil annual out this week, and I kind of am just now remembering that I should have jumped on that because I'm a big fan of annuals because they're just one shots pretty much for the most part.
yeah. No, and then too, like if you are subscribed to say like Thor or Ant-Man or Hulk or whatever, like you automatically get subscribed to the annual as well.
Right.
Um, so that's always
A nice little treat
a nice little treat to get.
for Marvel to make a little extra money every year. And I
Yeah,
guess did DC do annuals still?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Interesting.
I wouldn't. I don't have any, but I
Hmm.
know. But when I was getting comics back when like the new 52 was starting out, like I got annuals with all those things I was subscribed to. So
Nice. All right,
um,
buddy. You ready for me to land this bird?
yeah, dude, let's land this bird. Let's
Well, here
let's
comes the bird.
fly away.
Woo! Um, fly away by landing. Man, yours like some sort of like uh Dao De Ching type prophet over there with this then is now and here is there and um all this wisdom that you're throwing out this episode. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with the Pool Box Pals. That's me, Monk, and my buddy Mark. I don't know why I said our name this far into it, but we are the Pool Box Pals, and any one of you that joins along with us is also a Pool Box
You're a
Pal,
pull box pal too.
a Pool Box Pal too. Um, yeah, if you want to do us a favor and go ahead and like us on whatever platform you're watching or listening this to, rate us on wherever you listen to us. Um, I know I always say this. If you normally watch this, I ask that you would go and subscribe to it on a podcast catcher. And if you normally
Smash
listen
that
to
like
this,
button.
smash that like button on Facebook and YouTube, and we're also on Twitch.
Yeah,
And we're also on TikTok. We need to post on TikTok more.
we
But
say that every week, and
yeah,
I just never get around to
that's okay.
it.
Uh, we went from needing to do it to being like, meh, real quick. But yeah, it means a lot to us that when we're getting people to start reaching out to us and telling us what they think, and it's been great. I've had a lot of good conversations. I had a conversation with my buddy Ben this week about some comics that we have been reading, and some cons that he had gone to and all that stuff. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you, hear what you're reading. I feel like we both
Yeah.
ask questions to the audience. But yeah, that's it. We will see you actually next Thursday. We forgot to announce this.
Yep, that's
But
right.
we're going to be doing this next Thursday, not on Wednesday. We'll make sure to post about that on the social media pages. But yeah, I'm starting a new job, and so I'm going to need some time in between to. It doesn't really matter. This is all boring stuff. But I'm not.
Details, who cares?
Who cares about semantics? Just be here next Thursday and we'll be happy to see you. But
Oh yeah.
all right, you know what they say. That's
That's
comics.
comics,
Comics,
baby.
baby.